The Chiefs made history with a win against Buffalo to make it to a third straight Super Bowl. Can they get the job done? Rod is back to discuss all of this and more next on the Home of the Chiefs.
Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Chiefs. Welcome everybody to the Home of the Chiefs podcast, where the Chiefs are our home. It is Clinton and Shannon back with you again this week, and we've got a very special guest. We got Rod back here for one more episode prior to the Super Bowl. I gave him the promise if the Chiefs could end up hoisting another Lamar Hunt Trophy and getting to that third straight Super Bowl, we would have him on and let him go on and on about what he thought about the Bills game and or this Eagles game. So first off, Rod, thank you for joining us. And second of all, how pumped are you to be here and to talk about this upcoming Super Bowl matchup?
Thank you for having me. And this upcoming Super Bowl, I have a lot of bold predictions. It's very big. After rewatching film, I think the film don't lie. The numbers can tell you one thing, but the battle tester will tell you another. So we're gonna get deep into that later.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to get into it. I know Shannon and I are still kind of not fatigued, but still exhausted from the experience of being there at Arrowhead, and just the excitement and the experience that is a Chiefs versus Bills game. So enough talk. Let's go ahead and officially get into it. Our first topic has to do, and I've called it once again, four falls. Everyone was calling four falls to be in reference positively for the Bills. But it seems like, in fact, the Chiefs defeated the Bills and Josh Allen for a fourth time, this time with a score of 32-29. And what's always a close contest with the Bills, it's always either a 3-point game or a close game, except for that AFC Championship game where Arrowhead was completely empty. But I have to ask the question, what are your thoughts about this Lamar Hunt Trophy win, and who were your offensive and defensive MVPs?
Well, it was such a fun game. I said this earlier to him, but I think it was one of the funnest times we've ever been at Arrowhead over our 4 years we've been there. So I think, honestly, that was such a fun matchup, and we had so much fun. We were yelling the whole time. There was really not a quiet moment when we were there. And then afterwards, seeing that trophy again hoisted up, being in that ceremony, that was so cool. It was an amazing experience and such a neat thing to look back on, and we'll always have that memory, and it's just so historic. So it was really fun. As far as like my defensive and offensive MVPs, the offensive one goes to Kareem. He got 64 yards. And he had that one touchdown, which was so cool to see. I know you were like the one, you were yelling his name the whole entire time. Like you were like cheering him on. You were making sure like, yeah, we support you, Kareem. Let's go. So that was really cool. And I feel like he lit up this game, and he looked young and hungry. He wasn't remarkable, but he showed up. He did what he needed to do. And my defensive is George Karlaftis. He honestly didn't really show that much on the stat sheet, but in this game, he really showed up on the field. He needed that. He had a few QB hits, and he really needed to just make sure he did what he wanted and needed to do. So he made Josh Allen feel uncomfortable. He didn't really let him escape and did it.
I like those picks for your offensive defensive MVPs. I think those are two guys that really showed up a lot, even though the stat sheet doesn't show much. But I really think they made a very big impact in this game. For me, My offensive MVP goes to our rookie Xavier Worthy. He shown that he is more than a straight line speed guy. He is a quick receiver, quick in and out routes, in the intermediate routes. He is someone that you literally have to get hands on him now. You can't just let him just run freely, even though his speed can beat you. If you don't get hands on him, you might as well just go to the sideline. It's a wrap for you. And with the trust that Mahomes has into him, really getting him involved quickly, especially in the red zone, is a very big problem because at the end of the day, you still have to worry about Travis Kelce. And if you don't worry about Travis Kelce, well, I'm gonna start throwing the ball to Xavier Worthy because I'm eventually you're gonna eventually get off of Travis Kelce and cover these wide receivers, and we're just gonna be playing cat and mouse. And my defensive MVP, I would have to say more of the unsung guys. I give it to a collective of the whole defensive line. And the reason I give it to the defensive line is because what those guys did, especially when it came to the quarterback sneak, it was pivotal. It was very pivotal in the game, and it was more of scouting came into fruition. They knew Josh Allen had a tendency to go to his left, which is the defense right, when it comes to the quarterback sneak, and it was there. To be able to stop him on the quarterback sneak when it's fourth and short, third and short, is utterly impossible. It's very difficult to do, and yet they did it 3 or 4 times when it matters the most, and that right there makes a big difference in the game. And now you have to really evaluate yourself on, you know, are you is the little things being taken care of? What is your actual tendencies into this game? And so that's what make this, this Chiefs defense a very much different. And also you looking at, you know, the key players that might not be what people wants them to be, but they are, who they need to be for this team. And I know talking about Felix Enrique Zama, he is a true defensive end. Some people probably want him as an edge rusher, more of a speed guy, put him out in the seven technique, and probably use his speed more. But him being in that five technique and really stopping the run really makes him extremely valuable for this team. Especially when you're going against a running back who typically go to the outside, who likes to run to the outside, like when Saquon Barkley. He is a guy that has to be on that field and running downs. He has to be there, to be able to stop that outside run, to set the edge and stop the outside run. Charles Omenihu is a great pass rusher. He's really, really good in the pass rush. But when you saw him in the run game, James Cook was able to get around him and beat him to the edge fairly quickly, but he could not stand a chance against Felix. So Felix and these unsung guys that be on that defensive line really make a big difference for me.
The win was incredible. It was honestly everything I wanted it to be from start to finish. Obviously, the Chiefs didn't play a perfect game, but considering about every single Chiefs versus Bills game in the playoffs and how Patrick Mahomes has been and this offense and this team in general has been in the playoffs, that this is about as perfect of an ending as you can get. I mean, it's very 13 seconds-y, but you get the aspect of winning the defense on the field and then the offense getting to seal the win. So it's not a complete, panic to try to score and the chaos that comes with that. We got to really marinate in that three-peat opportunity feeling again. And, I could go over several moments, but just overall, the environment was electric. The atmosphere of Arrowhead was everything it's ever been and more. Like you said, it was a playoff game, and even though Bills Mafia came out, Chiefs Kingdom was able to come out the louder of the two.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't already, make sure to go watch Shannon's vlog to check out what it was like to be there at the end of the game and, how empty some sections got
Yep.
once the blue started to pour out and all you could see was red and gold. So Chiefs Kingdom really showed out. And like Pat was asking for, we got loud and proud for our team. And we made history, like I said. In terms of offensive, defensive, it's stereotypical and it's got to be done. The offensive goes to Patrick Mahomes. He goes into a certain mode when it is playoff Pat. He is going to take off down the sidelines. He's going to slide after 10 yards. He's going to have those Lamar Jackson type runs, but not the speed and elusiveness. But somehow he's still getting away from all these defenders who are meant to tackle him. He had 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. So it was clear that, the Chiefs offense needed to be a little bit different and kind of pull out all the stops to beat arguably their biggest playoff rival at this point in Josh Allen and the Bills. And Mahomes went, over his dead body and just put the game away with his legs. And then when it was under 2 minutes and it was time to get the first downs, he just did some easy check down throws to our running backs who are very good out of the backfield catching and got the necessary first downs to win. So, I agree. Xavier Worthy had some great catches in this game, some jump balls, like how did he catch that? Travis Kelce didn't quite show up, but, against the Eagles, I'm sure he'll have another breakout day against, his brother's former team. And, some other players who really haven't gotten to shine much are going to have their moments in the Super Bowl, because that's how Andy Reid loves to kind of script the plays in the Super Bowls. Like, here's your one play and it's going to be a touchdown. The joke is which offensive lineman is going to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl this year. And I'm sure a play is set up if the moment happens for it. But, Patrick Mahomes has got to be the MVP for me, because he went just completely Superman mode this game, put the game away with his legs, was throwing some tough catches or some tough passes for some tough catches, and was able to get the job done against his rival Josh Allen. And then for me on defense, you guys have kind of picked away the defensive line, so I got to give it to Trent McDuffie. And I think even more so, I got to give it to his counterpart and the player that Trent McDuffie is very happy is back in starting lineup for the Chiefs defense, and that is one Jalen Watson. Did not flash his name or anything all game, and that is a very good reason. If you're a cornerback and your name's not getting called, that is for good reasons. Never saw him get picked on, which means there was enough time to start double teaming the receiver that he was responsible for, so that Trent McDuffie could kind of do that Bill Belichick type of defense and go one-on-one against the second best wide receiver. And Jalen Watson was able to hold his own, and all those concerns about, oh no, the cornerback on the opposite of McDuffie is struggling and is going to be the focal point of the downfall of our Super Bowl run. Jalen Watson, in this time crunch, please come back for this Super Bowl run. Please come back for this playoff stretch. We need you. And in that time has been, nothing short of remarkable. Doesn't have to flash or make a lot of plays. It's that Darrelle Revis factor. Nobody's throwing the ball over there. And people are trying to test Trent McDuffie in the slot a little more. And we're getting to see Trent McDuffie get some hands on the ball. So I think those players in congruency of each other are really benefiting from this playoff push together. And the fact that Jalen Watson has come in and has been able to, really cement himself back as that starter and to not skip a beat after his injury is just spectacular. And overall has really contributed to this Chiefs playoff run. And I am excited to see what that matchup does here this next Sunday. They have some tough wide receivers, some combinations to pair up, and who's going to take on what. But I know that we're just excited to get into that. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media. If you listen to us on Spotify as an audio podcast, make sure to give us 5 stars on there and share us so that our platform can grow. Maybe you prefer some short form content. make sure to follow us on any of those social media platforms, as we have some reels or TikToks or whatever that goes out on those platforms. So if you don't want to just watch our podcasts or want something else besides our video essays on YouTube, make sure to check out those other accounts. Maybe you'd like to be in Rod's shoes for a future episode of the Home with Cheese podcast. Obviously, we have our final drive that we're doing this week as well. But here in the off season and afterwards, we will definitely be in the market for some more guests. So if you want to come on here and talk about your fandom of the Chiefs, or frankly any NFL team in general, would like to come on here and kind of flex your history and talk about what's going on in the NFL related to your team and the games related to them in the season, make sure to hit up the links in the description so we can get you on a future episode. Perhaps that you are a written content enjoyer. If you are and are already following our Substack, you may already be familiar with some of Rod's work, but we have a free and a paid membership on Substack. Your free membership will get you access to our daily newsletter, which right now gives you Monday through Friday kind of a roundup of what's happened around the NFL and such. But if you really want some more in-depth content, you can subscribe for $5 a month or a $50 yearly amount. And that gets you access to a pregame, which is written by Rod here, and gets you a postgame article written by Daily Dale. And both of those hit your inbox in our Substack that twice a week. So expect Rod's article here in the next coming days. So make sure to subscribe to our Substack so you can get access to that pre-Super Bowl write-up, because you're definitely not going to want to miss that. I'm sure Rod is very hyped about that. And last but not least, we do have some shirts for sale. If you haven't gotten your Super Bowl merch and get that ready for the Super Bowl, maybe there's time to reach out to us and we can sprint you one of these t-shirts to your house before the Super Bowl Sunday. But if a t-shirt interests you and you like to get some Red Kingdom Media merch on you, make sure to hit up the links in the description, message any and all of us, so we can get that order ready and sent out to you. And moving on to the main event, the topic that I have dubbed Kelce Bowl 1.5, and that's of course because we do not have the one Jason Kelce on this side of the t-shirt this time around. It is only Travis Kelce, but Travis Kelce can make history against his brother's former team, as Kansas City is heading to New Orleans, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles for Super Bowl Sunday. What are your expectations for this game? And will the Chiefs hoist their third straight Lombardi Trophy?
Yes, they are going to three-peat, baby. They're gonna hoist that trophy. They're gonna do it. I'm nervous because like they have so much pressure lying on this game, and they may make some mistakes and it might make us very nervous. But I feel like they've got like a hold on it by now, that they've done it before, they've made that mistake before, and they've still come back from it. Like they're like that type of team where 1-2 mistakes, yeah, they can still win. They can still win when it counts in those last 2 minutes, in the last minute. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to see us play the Eagles again, and the Eagles are obviously going to want their revenge. So I'm excited to see what our defense does to respond to that.
As for me, I believe the Chiefs will win this game. My bold prediction for this game: the Chiefs will win by 10 points. This is not going to be a one-score game. I think the Chiefs are going to go ahead and pull this out by 10. Vegas got them as a 1.5 point favorite right now, and even though a lot of people claim that the Eagles got a better roster, is a reason why the Chiefs are only a 1.5 point favorite, due to the fact of what the Eagles has done in the NFC Championship game. Yes, the overall numbers show that they put up 55 points. Cool. That game got out of control in the fourth quarter, and I frankly would say, this is a bold statement alert. The Eagles got lucky. They got extremely, extremely lucky against the Commanders. I think facing the Commanders that was an inexperienced team, the team that was technically in a rebuilding stage, and they just made it very far, made it to the NFC Championship game, so they technically didn't have nothing to lose. And I think the lights was about too bright for them in that moment. Four turnovers, especially when you look at the type of turnover they had, it was pretty much bonehead mistakes. And so looking back at everything that has happened in that NFC Championship game, though the things that was going on, Patrick Mahomes and the offense are not going to make that mistake. Andy Reid and I got to give him credit, Matt Nagy are not going to make those mistakes. Um, Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback that sees the whole entire field. I when I watched over film, I counted 10 big plays, at least 10 so far, but there's 10 big plays that was missed by Jalen Daniels. And what I mean by big plays that was missed, I'm talking about you have a clean pocket, you had time to throw the ball, so no pressure, and you had an open receiver. So when I looked at that, I was looking for those three things, and I saw 10 of them. Now, out of those 10 big plays, four of them came out, should have been touchdowns. They missed, they left 14 points, no, 12 points, I'm sorry, 12 points onto the field. And those are three scores that they kicked the field goal on that should have been touchdowns. One particular touchdown they missed and was to me should have been a way to really put the pressure on the Eagles is when they had 21 seconds left in the second half. And go back on the film and check it out that Terry McLaurin was coming across on a crossing route. The Eagles was playing extremely, extremely soft. And when Terry McLaurin came off and he was wide open, and there was only two receivers on the right hand side that had took the two defenders on the right hand side. Everyone else was on the left side of the field. So if Jalen Daniels would have thrown the ball to Terry McLaurin in that play, he could have easily has walked it in for a 40-yard touchdown. Easily. But he decided to run the ball, which he did get a first down and he got out of bounds to stop the clock. Okay, that's cool. But to me, I take touchdowns over first downs anytime. And also looking at how the Eagles play defense, it's to the point now in today's society, the whole fear of Vic Fangio, I think is the effect has worn off. You don't have a young Von Miller. You trying to get a replica in that by having Nolan Smith, but Nolan Smith is not that type of presence. He is an outside linebacker, but you're trying to use him as the same way as you use Hassan Reddick on the first time we faced the Eagles in the Super Bowl, or and then you're trying to use him as Von Miller when he was coaching, when he was a defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. Nolan Smith is not on that type of level. Though he has the speed, he doesn't have that run stopping ability. And so when I look at this Eagles defense, I think they can be extremely exposed. One thing that Jalen Daniels will learn from this, because most likely he's going to see them again, because they're in the same division, is number 53 has a hard time covering tight ends. You're playing against the Chiefs, if you have a hard time covering tight ends, you're going to get picked apart by either one Travis Kelce or Noah Gray. They will pick you apart one at a time, marching down the field. And also looking at this Eagles defense is they like to play man, but they also switch their zone coverage up on the back end. And everyone has heard the Chiefs offense have a saying: sit when it's zone, run when it's man. It's just the offensive strategy. That's their philosophy. When it's a zone coverage, sit down in the zone. If it's man to man, keep on running. And that's the problem that the Washington Commanders didn't did not practice. And you can tell by that because when you saw the Eagles in zone coverage, they receivers continue to run through the zone, which gave the Eagles time to crash down on the receivers. And I wonder, okay, is that something that the Eagles has been facing all year long? And the answer to that is yes. So to me now, that's becoming a coaching problem in the NFC. Like, where do you teach your receivers to, hey, if it's zone coverage, sit down in that zone and if it's man to man, run through it. I think that's what separates, these teams between the AFC and the NFC. Especially when you go down to it, you're looking at who's the top five quarterbacks in the NFL. The top four is going to be the AFC. You can have a toss up on who number five will be. You can have an argument between CJ Stroud, and a lot of other guys before you get to an NFC quarterback. And so now when I'm looking at this Eagles defense, there's some things that you're not going to get away with Patrick Mahomes. You're not getting away with it. You're not getting away with covering the wide receivers 5 yards off the ball. You're not getting away with, especially with that kind of speed. You're not getting away with that. You're not sitting here going to think, oh, Patrick Mahomes not going to see his tight end coming across the field and the closest defender is 5 yards behind him. You're not getting away with that. Patrick Mahomes would hit him every single time. You're not going to get away with having a receiver going downfield 6 yards ahead of the safety. Mahomes will launch that ball to the end zone if he sees that. So I think they got away with the fact that they went up against an inexperienced quarterback with inside the bright lights. Now you're going up against a offense that knows how to play your defense, that understand. Yes, we know your defense is difficult by the book, but when you're looking at the type of players that you don't have that old school Denver Broncos defense no more. You don't have that all worldly Eagles defense from a couple of years ago. I think they became a number one defense because of who they played. It's very easy to play against teams that is constantly rebuilding. It's very easy to do that, especially when we have to go back on taste when they played against the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. Those offense picked them apart. The offense put numbers on them. It hurt them very, very badly. And if it wasn't for injuries, those two teams would have destroyed the Eagles. That's the only thing that hurt them. So now you're going to be against a very healthy and high power offense. The same thing that I said about the Buffalo Bills, that defense is designed to just handle someone with power. They cannot handle speed. My article never lie. The Eagles defense cannot handle speed. You can handle speed from one wide receiver, not four. And that's a problem for them. So now you're going to have to leave a linebacker like number 53 who's going to have to cover who's ever in a slot. That could be anybody. That could be anyone from Xavier Worthy to Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Noah Gray, or even Travis Kelce. Or if the Chiefs are really feeling froggy, it could be Isaiah Pacheco. Pick your poison. And so now the only thing that you're relying on is the pass rush up the middle. You're not picking on Trey Smith. Good luck. I can't wait to see Jalen Carter go up against Trey Smith. 1-on-1. Let it happen. You could try to pick on Mike Caliendo, but Creed Humphrey is not going to let that happen. This offensive line is at least 10 times better than the Washington Commanders. No offense to our two former guys, Nick Allegretti and Andrew Wiley, but I mean, let's call a spade a spade. The Chiefs' offensive line is a whole lot better. And also, like I said, if the Chiefs really want to get froggy, we can move Joe Tooney back to guard and have DJ Humphries out there. But the only difference of it is it will hurt. It will probably hurt DJ Humphries more than having Joe Tooney at tackle. If anything, if they're going to move Joe Tooney back to guard to have more power inside the interior, I would look for someone more athletic. And some people might not like it, but I would look for Kingsley Suamataia to be at left tackle due to the fact of it is your edge rushers do not go into a five technique. For those who don't understand the five technique, that's really them off the outside shoulder of the tackle. So they don't line up there. They like to line up in a 7 technique or a wide 9. Those are more of your speed rushers who lines up very wide. There were certain plays that I've seen Nolan Smith line up outside the slot receiver. You're literally way outside. That's pretty much a corner blitz. Literally, that's a corner blitz. He lined up on the outside of the slot receiver. And so that to me, you're asking, you're very much asking for the Chiefs to run the ball through the B gap. That's pretty much what you're asking me. If you're going to use, if the Eagles' biggest hope is going to be Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the interior, fine. I will run a gap run scheme, and I'm hitting the 2 to 4 hole and the 5 and 6, the 2 to 4 hole and the 3 to 5 hole. I'm hitting between the tackles and the guard. That gap right then and there. Your edge rushers are lined up too wide, so I'm gonna bring the pressure onto your linebackers. So you only have two of them sitting back there. The rest of you have a lot of DBs. I will put my money on Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco against any safety in the NFL. Bring it. And so that's my biggest thing of it is the Eagles like to run a lot of stunts and twists, especially with their blitz package, and this Chiefs offensive line can pick that up. They can hold their ground against the Eagles front. This is not the same the defensive line with a hellacious pass rush that nearly broke the league record for the most sacks. This is not that type of defense. And I know a lot of people say, well, their secondary got good. Yeah, your secondary is good when you're playing against bottom 10 quarterbacks in the league. Your secondary will be all worldly. The Chiefs have the toughest schedule in the NFL. And Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs team was 15-1 when Patrick Mahomes was starting, when the starters was out there. 15-1. Could have been 16-0, but that's neither here or there. But 15-1 against the toughest schedule in the NFL. I understand our defense had to go against Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is in a caliber of winning the MVP. Great. Chiefs had to go up against Mark Henry. We're fit for that. Jalen Hurts running the ball, fine. We used to that. Have we just played against Josh Allen? We played against Lamar Jackson. A running quarterback is nothing new to this defense. So when I look at this matchup and I understand what's on paper, and you have guys like Bill Belichick saying over and over and over again, what's on paper don't mean nothing compared to what you see on film. What you see on film is a team you do not want to mess with. And Belichick said it himself. The Chiefs, whoever wins the AFC Championship game, will hands down win the Super Bowl without a thought. Without a thought, they're going to win due to their playing style. With the Chiefs winning this AFC Championship game, I think the Eagles has met their match. Now you're facing against the big boys. Now you're finna go against real power, and I believe Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, and Steve Spagnuolo is really going to throw the kitchen sink at the Eagles, and I don't think they have a way to respond from it.
Thank you, Rod, for that very descriptive reason about why the Chiefs are going to three-peat. It sounds like a lot of that boils down to, and I happen to agree with, that the NFC is not quite as stacked as the AFC is. Yes, you could argue the Lions. We're playing against the Eagles right now, and insert a couple other teams up there. But I agree with you, Rod, and I guess Bill Belichick as well, that if the Chiefs could survive this Josh Allen matchup, they would, in theory, be the favorite going against the Philadelphia Eagles here for Super Bowl Sunday. However, the odds makers still are kind of giving the edge to the Eagles, so that just feeds into the Chiefs' lore even more, that they're going to shock the world, as they were able to shock all of us last weekend and all the world in denying Josh Allen his Cinderella story and allowing the Chiefs' villain arc to continue. For me, I'm giving them the win. I mean, how can you not? All the things the Chiefs been able to kind of overcome and still come out on top, 15-1, like you said. This team is playing their best at the right time right now at the end of the season. Other than their tackle situation, they're about at perfect health. everyone's still hoping Rashee Rice can have his one more shining moment. There was hope that Sky Moore is going to come back. So, like I said, Andy's trying to get any and everybody who can play in this Super Bowl their shining chance to make history, because I think the coaches have kind of proven themselves. Andy was willing to do some things against the Bills that he himself have not done. He's willing to take the principles, the plays that work against teams that other teams run, and kind of steal those and use them to his benefit. That's why we saw the Patrick Mahomes, bootleg takeoff or a touchdown. And I think Spagnuolo is kind of this evil, but not evil defensive genius. He was able to kind of put Josh Allen in a turnstile, and like Rod, like you were saying, there were times Jaden Daniels is wide open but just can't hit this target. There were times where Josh Allen had a target on one side of the field, but that's not the side that he favors. So Spags, in that right moment at the end of the game, are not fully end of the game, but end of the game for the Bills offense, the end of the game for them, sending all the pressure to the right, and had some guys open on the left, but that's not what Josh Allen's good at. So it's about these coaches going against these other guys' tendencies. We've already been able to see this Eagles team in the Super Bowl 2 years back, and last year when they played us, that was obviously with Jason Kelce, who's not on the sidelines for the Eagles anymore, but instead up in the booth. But you got to feel confident in some way. I'm not saying there won't be times where the Chiefs will make some mistakes. There will be some times where they give up something they shouldn't. But when it just boils down to the last 4 minutes of the game, it just seems like no matter what, this team will find a way to pull it out in the end. Whether it's the offense making a miraculous, drive to get the 3 points they need to force overtime or to win the game, or it's the defense clinching at the last drive to turn over on downs, giving the Chiefs the ball to kneel it away. Whatever the case may be, there's just this oozing of confidence on this Chiefs team, both from the veterans all the way down to the rookies from this year, and especially the rookies of the last couple years, which all they've ever known are Super Bowl victories. There just has to be said something in regards to that, and just the impact that it has on your psyche and how you're feeling about this game. Throughout this whole process, they've never said three-peat. They never thought that. They never thought, getting past the X game that's in front of them. But now they're officially in the Super Bowl, and they're focused on the team itself. And it feels good that this is now a 57 rematch, and seems almost personal, because the last time that the Eagles were in Kansas City, it was not a pretty sight for the Chiefs. They, of course, lost that game, but the coach was very adamant about how excited he was about beating us in the regular season. So I'm sure there's going to be some bulletin board material kind of resurfacing from that game for the Chiefs to be able to use in this big game. And of course, it would not be, I would be a bad salesman or a bad CEO of this company if I did not bring this up. But I have to hype up our final drive that we have officially this week, from this Sunday to Super Bowl Sunday, where we finish it with a watch along, and we watch the big game together and kind of have some play-by-play commentary about what we're seeing in that game. But right now, we're still looking for a couple of people. If you want to be on and get to talk Chiefs football, get on there, talk about the Super Bowl. And, this is your chance to kind of dominate our platform. This is the platform of the fans. And so this is the week where we kind of just relinquish to you. We're here just to kind of, work the software and make sure that we don't get kicked off YouTube or something. But other than that, most of the conversation, everything's fun. You guys get to give your opinions, no matter how hot takey they are, no matter how trolly they are. But it'll be a fun time. All of us will kind of be hanging out. Some of us will be in the show. Some of us will be in the background. Some of us will be producing. But it'll be a fun time. Rod can attest. It's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door in terms of sports talk, sports radio, sports writing, and kind of the antithesis of a story, from just kind of getting on as a one and done to saying, nope, I got to be on consistently, and I can't escape this. So how do I stay here and find my niche? So once again, hope you guys tune in for that. It's our big event. It doesn't happen every year, but as of right now, it has for us, because your Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. They're hoping to get that three-peat. They're hoping to hoist that third Lombardi. And I know that all of us in this room, all of us watching this podcast, all of us within Chiefs Kingdom are just dying to get to next Sunday. But like I said, our platform exists for the fans this week. We got the final drive going on. We got anybody and everybody on here to talk about what they thought about the Chiefs all year and what they think about this Super Bowl matchup. But it has been fun talking to you, Rod. Once again, thank you for joining us. Hope everyone out there enjoys this week. It's going to be, Red Friday every day, Spirit Week, whatever day, wear Mahomes this day, Travis Kelce this day, whatever it is, whatever, sequence of events you got to do to superstitious your way to this three-peat. But that is all the time we have for you. I hope you all enjoy the Super Bowl week. I hope we get this victory, but hope you all stay safe and healthy out there. Enjoy yourselves. And as always, let's go Chiefs.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs, Red Kingdom Media.